crusader for the multiples and you. And Tony, why don't we put those two before we have Francis come up? Two Art Williams quotes. And side by side, thank you, Tony, for all you do, by the way. When my income came off of me, I made thousands. When my income came off of others, I made millions.
I know, that's the way I did it.
And so I think a lot of people are saying to themselves, I prefer thousands, not millions. Because when they start employing the multiples, they start making millions. And the last one, and I'll hand it over to you. I kept selling the dream because I believed in it so much. That word believed. He believed in a power of three who get three. A dream that they should build a company within company, that they should recruit people to build a company within their company. It was never recruit people to sell insurance. We call that RVPs who have RVPs who have RVPs. That's a quote from my interviews with him. So Francis, we're thrilled to have you on today. And start out with the one, just make a comment, and we got a few minutes before the bottom of the clock. To me, I love it. When my income came off of me, I made thousands. Talk about that, Francis.
I'm sorry, Bill. Something interrupted me. What did you?
Oh, that's all right.
Give me one more time.
These two quotes. Talk about these two quotes, and we got 5 more minutes before you were to start.
But the first thing when I see this quote, the first thing that goes in my mind is that's what sold me on it. That's what gave me hope and a fact that my thinking was, I don't know anything about financial services. I did understand buy term and invest the difference when I heard it, but I was never thought of myself as being in that industry. But I can tell you, when I heard that I could build a company within a company and one day own that business and I could have an income stream that would continue, because I was working with other people, I bought into it hook, line, and sinker. I never have lost my passion for it. I've never thought for 1 minute that I should have done it a different way. It was clear to me. And I think so. I use those words even today. If I'm talking to a new person, I tell them, I say, you should be so excited about your new business because you're going to get to build your own company within a company and one day own that business and, have something for your children's children. Those words just, they captured my heart. And Bill, I think that's what captures others' hearts. I think that's what will make people do things they wouldn't want to do if they thought they could have that.
I'm going to go back to a word you used. We got 3 minutes. And Art says we sell hope, a dream, and an opportunity. And you just said the word, the multiples gave me hope. What does that mean? What was the hope they gave you?
Well, the hope they gave me was that because Lee, I was doing what I did because we had a wonderful business and his health at age 40, he couldn't work anymore. And I thought, if anything happens to me like happened to him, we'll still have an income stream. The multiples would give me a chance to not depend on any one person. I knew that if I could recruit people and help them recruit people, I was never looking for any one person to do it. I was looking to people. I thought if one doesn't do it, somebody will do it. The multiples gives you a chance to have thousands of people on your team. No way I could ever come in from central Georgia and a farming community. There was no way I could have a business with thousands of people stretched across 2 nations. That just, I knew, man, that's safety, that's security, that's dreaming of a business that'll go on without me. And frankly, I had some illnesses that took me out of the game, and my business still continues to grow today. Never stopped growing during the worst of times, and the income never stopped going down.
Again, we've got 3 people who are going to help you. We've got, of course, Carlos Leong. We've got Mika Saunders, and we have Mike Pressler. All people who are committed, like you and I are. We gather together. They're part of what we call the chosen group, and so talk about them. And what should people be expecting today? And then now I'm going to turn it over to you, and you go from there. But first, talk about what should people expect today, and then start your teaching.
I love starting it that way because when I put my presentation together and started thinking, it's so repetitious and so exactly the things you have to do. And when you hear from Mika Saunders, Mika and I started working together, talking and giving her some of my mentoring and what I had done to build a business back in her early days. And she captured some of those principles that Art taught us, the things that we heard over and over. And I gave those to Mika, and she's built a company within a company herself. As a matter of fact, she's got people that have built companies within a company. And she's used those principles. And I asked her today to share some of the simplicity of it. And then Carlos Leon, he lives in the same, we both live in the same area. He's in Duluth, and my office was in Duluth. And I've watched his career, and I watched how he was recruiting and building RVP so early in the game. And when I listened to him talk, I said to him, Carlos, because he's not on my team, but I said, Carlos, who do you learn from? Who did you learn from? He said, Art Williams. I said, that's what I thought. He said, I don't read anything but A.L. Williams' way. And I figured out how to build my business with the A.L. Williams way and using his words. And he's built a great business with RVPs that are building RVPs. So Carlos is going to give you that. Now, what I'd like for the audience to hear is we're going to give you stuff. And if you're not careful as adults, we start thinking, oh, I already know that. I've heard that before. Well, let me tell you this. I have never heard a presentation from people that know what they're doing that I didn't find at least one thing that made a huge difference. You might listen 2 hours and find one thing that'll make you millions of dollars. There's something you don't know, but there's also this. It doesn't matter how much you know. What matters is how much you can teach others. And if you can't say it in a way that others are inspired by it and learn from it, then you really haven't learned it well yet. So I think you're here today, a lot of you, is to become teachers, not just to become students of it, but to become teachers of other students and teachers. So you're going to hear that from all three of us. And, nobody's better at lighting it up than Mike Pressler. He loves this company. He loves what we stand for. And every time I've ever heard him speak, I don't care if he's asking a question on the meetings with Glenn or what he's doing, he's got that passion and energy. And I know you'll love hearing from him as he closes us out. So you're ready for me to go, Bill? Okay, I built a presentation for this, and I'm going to show you some pictures, but I'm also going to talk through this. And this is what I'd like to encourage people to do. This is, it's when you never can grow weary of repetition. Repetition is the mother of learning. Art Williams practiced that probably to the letter. I've never, as a matter of fact, his encouragement of me over the years was I learned that it was okay to be repetitious, that people need to hear it a lot of different ways. And so today, I'm going to talk about basic fundamentals, but let me tell you something. There's some strategies in here that I can promise you they will explode your business. I watched my hierarchy as I grew my business down in Sandersville, Georgia, Central Georgia. We were recruiting in Sandersville and an opportunity meeting on Tuesday nights, and then I ended up with about 6 opportunity meetings a week because I couldn't get to individuals fast enough to grow like I wanted to with this strategy. So let's take a look at that. We'll go to the next slide, Tony. There you go. This is something you should be able to quote in your sleep. Your people need to hear it. A recruit isn't a recruit till they have a recruit. A leg's not a leg till it's 4 deep. Talking about driving it deep. A team is not a team till it has 4 legs. And Art always said an RVP is not an RVP till it has an RVP. And I think that's the way. You're not a $100,000 earner till you have a $100,000 earner. The idea is we have to duplicate and continue to multiply our efforts at every stage of the game. So let's go to the next slide. This is a picture. Listen, if I've learned one thing in my life after 45 years of doing this and working with people, there is nothing more important when you teach people than showing them a visual. Just talking about it, they don't get it. And this is not we think of it when we've heard it so much and we've seen it, we think, well, why is it so complicated? Because people can't visualize width and depth. They just can't. They think of themselves, if you tell them they need to build it, they think they have to know everybody. They think they have to personally do it. So people don't visualize it in their mind without you showing them the circles. I can tell you that the circles will make a huge difference in your people understanding the concepts and the strategies. But that's an important visual of a leg when it's 4 deep. And that's, who's going to do that? Let's look at that. Let's go to the next one. Wide equals profitability, deep equals security. A lot of people think that when they go deep, they're losing money. Well, you don't get as much override off of the second level, but you do get security in your profitability. So the primary responsibility is to go wide first and do it fast. And I want to go back to my thing about build it big, build it fast, and build it to last. If you want it to last, you've got to build it big and fast. You've got to get that width wide in a hurry. If you go wide over a long period, you can have 15 wide, but if you do it in 6 weeks, you're going to have a lot more value than you will if it takes you a year to get 15 wide. And I don't know what it is about the magic number of 15, but everybody that's listening to me, the way our compensation works, if our people can learn to build 15 leaders wide, and it starts with building the leaders in your base shop, building districts and divisions. And what I say is this: I may recruit 15 people this next fourth. I recruited 15 people my first month wide. Out of those, 5 of them became regional vice presidents. The other 10 did something. But when you've got 15 wide, you're always going to have enough people to make sure that somebody is growing the business that you want to grow, that you want to build regional vice presidents. But once you get 15 wide and you start building districts and they start growing, you always keep that width at 15 I wanted to have 15 people I was personally working with at all times. And then I had the goal to build 15 RVPs wide, which we did that. And we trained our people to do that. Width equals profitability and depth equals security. So your secondary goal is to always go deep. Now, I hope I gave you enough explanation for you to get excited to build a company within a company. See, your top priority is to have the continuous opening of outlets. You want outlets to be opening constantly in your organization. You want to have a volume production per outlet. So you want those outlets to become profitable businesses. You want your people to have a company within a company that makes a profit for them and build stability. Those are the priorities of what you're doing. That's how you're thinking. Let me tell you something, folks. Building is a mindset. And if your mindset's not right, you're not going to build this solid. So let's talk about the next level. Let's talk about the next one. There's 3 commitments that I want from every new recruit. Now, please listen to me. People wondered, how did y'all recruit so many people so fast in those early days? I was in Sandersville, Georgia, 10,000 people in the central part of Georgia where it's nothing but farming land. Folks, listen, I recruited out of those first three people I had 3 under them so fast it was crazy. Now I went 15 wide, but I didn't wait till I was 15 wide. I was constantly building the depth. So we ended up with 100 people in just 2 or 3 months. The reason we could do that was this is what I wanted to do. I wanted every new recruit, the first thing I want a new recruit to hear, I never told a new recruit, you got to go to class. You got to pass the test. You got to do field training. Those words scare people to death. We wonder what happens to new people. Everybody talks about their new person is on Primerica planet somewhere that went into hiding. Listen, they're leaving because you said the wrong thing to them. You told them they've got to go get a license. You told them they've got to go do field training is selling in people's mind. So my new recruit, the minute I get your paperwork in, Bill, first thing I'd say is, here, what I want to know is, Bill, how much money will make you and Carol happy if you had that coming in 3 months? And he would say $1,000 or $3,000 or $5,000. I didn't want your big goals and dreams. I just wanted to know how much money would make you stay. When I came here and I was asked that question, I said, I want $1,000 coming into my account every single week, regardless. That is non-negotiable. Now in Sandersville, Georgia, for a woman to make $1,000 a week, that's a $50,000 a year income. I had no idea. A lot of doctors didn't even make that much money in 1981. And but I didn't know that. I'd been hiding out on the farm with Lee and having a great time growing plants and animals and children. I didn't know that women didn't make $50,000 a year. But you know what? I wanted that. I told them that. And when I said that, I said, I've got to have a calendar that shows what my availability is. I had a landscape company we were still running. I had children at home. So I'm going to ask Bill, here, I've got a weekly calendar. Each day's divided into 3 parts. I want you to mark out every part of the day for 7 days that you cannot work in your new business. Bill, not that you can work for me or any of that. I want to know how many hours a week can you put into your new business? And he would mark out all of his time. Then I'd say, okay, I'm going to work my time around your time. I'm going to schedule myself to be with you so we can build your company. And then the next thing I'm going to say is, Bill, we need to start your company right now. Let's get your business started. Give me 6 people that you really want to be in business with, and let's get them in the business. I could do that. Sometimes we always said, Art used to say, you get them in before they go, you get somebody under them before they go to the bathroom, before they have time to think. So let me ask y'all a question. How many times have you had a new recruit excited, you're totally pumped up about that recruit, you know they're going to do it, and they call you the next day and say, my wife and I, we've been thinking. When people told me they'd been thinking, I knew what was about to happen. But when they would say, we don't have the time, they couldn't say that to me because I had their calendar. I knew they had the time. So I stopped that. Then they would say, we've been thinking, we don't know a lot of people. Well, I would show them my knowledge and growth and show them how we were going to build the people. But anyway, I don't want to go there. But my point is, you don't wait till the next day or after they go home that night or when you leave them and then come back and try to recruit 3. You get the 3 as fast as you can, like immediately. Let me tell you something, folks. When people see that you can get 2 or 3, even 1, if they see there's somebody on their team that fast, they're not going anywhere. The odds of them coming back with I've been thinking and that'll happen occasionally, but it's occasionally. Now, when you listen to me talk, I want you to know something. I ran greenhouses for 20 years. You keep records in greenhouses. You know what results get. When I was doing this, I kept up with who called and said they didn't have time after I got their calendar. I kept up with how many people I had that said they didn't know anybody, but when they got somebody on their team, I watched to see how many people did you lose then. The odds of them leaving go way down when you do what I'm just showing you right here. Now, the timing on this, and I'm going to get off of it, but listen to me, folks. You can't wait till they go out there and talk to their neighbor or their plumber friend that knows all about how much money people can make in a business like this, or their wife that thinks they've lost their mind. You've got to get it done right now. And you get the partners usually involved in it. Get those people, when you can get a team started quick, They last, and they will do what I'm going to teach you next. Let's go to the next one. An outlet. We're opening outlets. Anyone who can offer the opportunity or the product to a consumer is an outlet. So you are an outlet. If you have the license, if you're on the team, you're an outlet. So we're going to build outlets, Bill. We're going to set up your outlets. Let's go to the next one. We're in the distribution business. What the difference in us and everybody else is, not only can you open outlets, you can help other people open outlets. You have a check because you're building distribution. Folks, I lived in the city where Coca-Cola's home is. The home of Coca-Cola is in Atlanta. And I watched the Coca-Cola company. When we lived out on the farm, you'd come out of our country road into the little tiny town, it had 400 population. And right in that corner, there was an old service station. And it had a Coke box sitting right out there in the front with a big Coca-Cola sign on it. Well, about every week, I would see the Coca-Cola truck sitting in front of that little country store, putting Cokes in that box. And one day I asked him, I said, do you come out here every week just to service this place? He said, ma'am, if there's a Coke box in this county, I go by and make sure they've got Cokes every week. That's how Coca-Cola kept their distribution alive. I read that, and I'm telling y'all this because I want you to focus on distribution. Folks, what we've got is better than any of that. What they did, they would do their big event once a year in Atlanta, and at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution would print a thing about what Coca-Cola did when they had their big meeting. And I kept it for 7 years, Bill. I kept the copy. And it said, Coca-Cola's annual meeting was in Atlanta this weekend, and the main topic was building distribution, expanding distribution, opening more outlets. That was at the front of that article for 7 years, and I'm sure it went on. Coca-Cola built the largest distribution machine in the world and is still today the most recognized name in business worldwide because they opened the most outlets. And I thought, boy, we've got a chance. Art said I could open outlets all across North America and that we could offer products, and I could have a chance one day to override those outlets and one day own my own business. Folks, let me tell you something. When I heard that and I knew what Coca-Cola had done, I knew I had a chance to do something phenomenal. You're opening outlets. I didn't consider when I was recruiting somebody that I was getting that I got just another recruit or another code number or another license. I considered I had a new outlet opening. Somebody was going to be able to offer products, and they were going to build their company within a company. Folks, you've got to get your head around who we are. We are a distribution company. We are the largest distribution organization in finance worldwide. You're a part of something that is, people would say, what do you do, Francis? I said, we're in the business of distribution in the financial industry. We open the outlets. Our opportunity is to open those outlets so we can override as many outlets as we want to open and one day own those businesses. Those words would recruit people all day long because it was talking about what people get excited about. And I think sometimes we forget what we do and who we are, because I would have people go out there and say, well, what do you do, Bill? He'd say, well, we sell insurance, and some people offer securities, and we can field train you so you can learn how to do the same thing. That doesn't recruit people. Art said people don't want to sell insurance. If they think that's what you're doing, they cross the street when they see you coming. You want to be in the business of opening outlets and building a company within a company. Let's go to the next one. I want to talk about the magic of a 90-day madman cycle. I don't know how many of y'all ever heard Art talk, but he talked about what you could do in 90 days. You can change your world in 90 days. So I set up a calendar for 90 days. And we had our 90-day madman cycles, and we would have a meeting once every 90 days to see how many people we could bring in. And we talked about in the first 90 days, you want to get 6 to 12 personal recruits on your team. And you want to help somebody get the same thing. And then you get to the next 90 days, you repeat that. Folks, this is building a team so fast that your growth is, your numbers are going to outgrow the attrition. You're always going to have attrition. There's always going to be somebody that quits and goes into hiding and can't do it for whatever the reason. It doesn't matter. When you understand your job is to get totally pumped up, totally excited about building your team. And I like to talk about base shop recruits more than I do personal recruits. Once you get that width going, you just keep people building width. I wanted 5 to 10 people with 15 wide all the time. So now you want them building reps, senior reps, districts, division, but get that 90-day madman cycle. I've got pictures of my base shop in Sandersville, Georgia, where we're at the electric company. They had a place to meet, and I'd take my people in there once a month and hand out 90-day madman shirts, because the people that were following this cycle, I would hand them a shirt that said 90-day madman, I'm a madman. Folks, listen, you've got to get your people tuned in to the timing that it takes to do something. In the industry I was in, if you didn't have a sense of timing about seedlings and growing plants, then you were out of business. I knew exactly how many days it took for a marigold to bloom. I knew how many days it took to make a poinsettia turn red. I knew how many days a chrysanthemum took to bloom in the summer. Folks, you've got to know what it takes for your team to bloom, for it to grow, for the cycle to follow, so that people are growing and see growth. People will stay with you if they see growth. For some people, a little growth is fine, but for the people that are really excited, they're going to want to see something happening. Let's go to the next one. So this is the power of 3 who get 3. So if you look at that, we talk about recruit 1 to get 3 under them. So you got 3, somebody recruited 3, and each one of them has 3. So now you have 9. And each one of those get 3. Now you have, there's 9 times, there's 27 people on that line. And you've got 9 plus 27. So now you've got 30 people. And then you've got the next level gets 3. That's 9 people getting 3. So now you're at 81 on that level. That's how the multiples grow. And the power of 3 that get 3 is mind-boggling. It's absolutely mind-boggling. You think that the rule of 72 blows people's mind. This blows their mind when they see how it can explode. Well, guess what other people see? When I would show this and I'd show those 9 people, I'd say, look, you knew the first 3. You didn't know the rest of them. You only knew 3 people that we brought into business, but now look at all the people that are on your team. You didn't know those people. Every recruit knows somebody that you don't know. Even the power of 1 is amazing, but when you put the power of 3, it blows my mind. Today my hierarchy still recruits close to 700 or 800 people every month. One month, about 2 months ago, they went over 1,000. In the early days, they were going over 1,500 recruits a month. I didn't know those people, but I know one thing: it built a huge hierarchy, and those are new people continuing to come into business. Folks, do you want your distribution machine to have an ongoing, consistent, recurring growth of people coming into business, which creates an income stream for you that's recurring and predictable? It is amazing. I've been through health issues, lost a son, lost a husband. I've had all kind of life happening to me, but the business continues to grow. And what if you have, after a few years, you can have a predictable 1.5 million income stream, 1.6 million soon, watching it grow to 2 million. Folks, listen, it doesn't happen in the world of business where we live. The people where we come from, you don't have an income stream that's that high value. And we have people with more than that. Let me tell you something, folks, it only can happen when you understand the multiples. You can't do that. You can't have a predictable, recurring income stream if you have to be responsible for sales. It's impossible 45 years later to have that, to go through a lot of different life experiences, raise a family, and still have a predictable income stream that's recurring and growing. The words, when I say those words, I get passionate about just telling somebody that. You cannot do it if you don't understand the power of three, getting three, the power of the multiples. Let's go to the next one. So we use tap rooting to build it. You use tap rooting. I teach this all the time. Your new people and their new recruits represent your tap root. You are the driving force in the system that uses overlapping leadership to build a tap root, and we'll show you that. Folks, don't take this lightly. This stuff is real. This is what makes it work. This is the system and the visuals that causes people to visualize themselves with three getting three and what's going to happen. Let's go to the next one. There's a tap root. It's you find somebody and you are the driving force. Don't count on your new people to drive it. You drive it and you overlap them and you keep overlapping till you find a leader that can take the ball and run with it. You want to find somebody in those legs that can become independent builders, and they will follow that tap root. You never want to stop with width. You want to drive it deep. And the question was always, how deep do you drive it? You drive it to China. You keep driving that, you become the driving force until somebody looks at you and says, don't ever come back around me again. I'm not driving it any deeper. You've got to have a mindset that it never stops going deep and keeping the width. That's what makes the multiples work. Remember who the driving force is. It's you. Let's go. I have a tree farm, by the way, and I'm really into trees. I know about root systems on different types of trees, hardwoods, hickory trees, oak trees, pine trees, you name it, we've got it. Let me tell you something, folks. I understand the value of a taproot in a tree. And the trees with the deepest taproot are the ones that are least affected by the wind and the elements. We've had a few storms come through our farm, and the shallow-rooted plants fall over when the winds come. In your organization, the shallow-rooted organization is the one that falls the fastest. Who's going to drive it? So you want to have a recruiting system that never stops recruiting. I'm mad right now because mine's not growing fast enough. We've lost a little momentum on recruiting in our hierarchy, but our recruiting system has never stopped recruiting. We're still recruiting a bunch of people every month. Now, I'm going to keep being mad till we get it up a little bit higher. I want the company to talk about recruiting more. I want us to reward people that do 3 by 3 by 3 by 3 and drive it deep and show that. I want to hear this like I heard it from Art and from the great leaders of this company in the early days. Folks, if that message is going to get out there, it's you and I that's got to take the message. There's nobody else doing this. Nobody's talking about growing tap roots and building width and depth for profitability and building teams that will last for generations. Folks, that's what we were built for. Art told us that the magic of this company was that we could build a company within a company, and that company could last. And he told me when I was a division leader, he gave me an award on the stage. He said, I can look at your face and tell you don't care a thing about this award. I said, I'm just looking to be an RVP, Art. He said, I know. And he said, I'm going to tell you something, Francis. I'm going to watch how much people you make, how much money you make, but I'm going to watch closer how much money your people make. Well, let me tell you, I'll never forget that night. I'll never forget when Art said that to me, because I never stopped looking at how much money my people make. Our people have become wealthy. They've built generational wealth. They built companies within a company. We have people all over, world business leaders right now. Our income to our field force is very, very high. We're like in the top of the company with that. Why? Because I focus on building depth and width and depth and profitability for the team members, because I want big tap roots. I want those root systems to go so deep that somebody down there is going to stay in business and keep the ball rolling. And I'm calling on all of the chosen ones that are listening to me today. Let's do that. Let's keep this alive. Let's keep what we were given. We are the beneficiaries of the greatest marketing program that has ever been built in the history of North America, or the world probably. We've got to keep this distribution machine running at full speed and building tap roots that will last through whatever we go through. I think I'm about to close here. I've got some more people we want to bring up. But these are words that I'm telling everybody, use these words because they teach a building system. You're building a company within a company. You saw that quote from Art. You're in business for yourself, but you're not by yourself. Learn to say those words to your people. It makes them confident. Now, they understand when you do tap rooting that you're building it for them, that they're in business for themselves, and your job is to help them build a company within a company. I'm going to go one more time, I think. Let's see. That may be my last one. Okay.
Here's your last slide.
Yeah, that's the last slide. What I want this audience to know, there's not another group of people out there in the company that's putting this much focus on what built the greatest company in North America. And some of the people that you're about to hear from, I'm gonna call up Mika Saunders first and have Mika. But one of the things she's going to talk to you about is some of the systems you use to keep this duplication system alive. She's mastered that with her people, and you can see it by the way her people make money, the growth they've had, and the strength of RVP she has. So Mika, you're up.
All right. Can you all hear me? Yes, perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much, Francis. It's always an amazing time just listening to you and just being able to learn from you. So thank you. You know, repetition is great. I don't know about, you talked about repetition earlier, and I never get sick of hearing it. I never feel like I know it all. And so I just want everybody on this call to understand that repetition is the mother of skill, right? And so in order for you to truly, we always say this, if you knew it, you would be doing it. Okay, that's what I tell my team, okay? If you knew it, you would be doing it, all right? And so if you're not doing it, then you don't know it. And so you want to make sure that you are taking notes, actively listening to everything that we have to say today. Also, thank you to Coach Bill. I was listening to one of his, YouTubes on the way home from my dental appointment today. And it was so good, and it made me realize that for those of us who were not there with them back in the day, okay, if you were not there, I realized that they are giving us all of the skills, all of the what to do's, all of the multiples, right? Because it's really more simple than we make it. I feel like we've completely complicated this thing. We've completely made this more than it has to be. I mean, I saw his recruiting presentation for the first time on YouTube today. You should go check it out if you haven't seen it. And I'm like, wow, I have to show this to my team. It was so simple and completely focused on building. And so I really, truly believe that we have complicated this thing, made it way more complicated than it needs to be. And I just want us to all write down simplify. Okay, write down, we need to simplify this thing. We're not that fancy. Right? I know we have all the licenses, me included, okay? I know we have all of the fancy things, right? And that's wonderful for our credibility. But if we just really minimize this thing all the way back down to exactly what Coach Francis just talked about, what Coach Bill always talks about, and we just simplify it, then I believe we can truly get back to the multiples, truly get back to explosive recruiting that they talk about, explosively promoting regional vice presidents. And so, that was the first thing. The second thing that I realized, and I'm going to share my couple of slides here, was vision, right? Vision. As I was listening to Bill, Coach Bill, I saw and I hear and I listen to Francis, all the time, and we talk all the time. Vision. I think we are so caught up in the skills of it all, of, what do I do? How do I do it? Where's the script? Right. And we've forgotten the vision, right? And what vision is, a picture of the future that creates direction in the present, right? So when you think about your business, I always like for whenever I speak to people and I'm training, I want you to internalize it. I want you to take this personal. And so I want you to think specifically about your business. What is your vision for your business? Do you have one? Or have you just been setting goals and, based off of what your RVP or your upline says, you just kind of set those goals and you go after it? Or do you truly have a vision for yourself? See, I understood that when I came into this business, what I didn't want just another job, right? If I wanted another job, I could have just stayed at the hospital working as a registered nurse. And so there has to be a bigger vision that is pulling you towards it so that you can keep going. So when the adversity happens, you can keep moving because you know what you're working towards. When it's taking longer than it needs to take, you can keep moving because you know that you're on that path for that bigger vision. So what is that picture of the future that you have in your mind? Have you written it out? Have you drawn the circles? And so if you don't have a vision for your business and also for your life, I really encourage you to go ahead and take some time to do that today, right? So create that vision. Secondly, the third and final thing that I realized as I was listening to my training from Coach Bill on YouTube, okay? And I realized the mentality. He talked about the way that builders think. And so the mentality is a person's way of thinking. And so you on here, I want you to not think about, oh, my downlines or, this person thinks this way. That's the problem. No, I want you to think about yourself, right? I want you to think about you. How do you think about the business? Because I know for a fact when I heard Coach Bill doing his recruiting presentation, I said, our recruiting presentation is nothing like that. Oh my goodness. And it was just so simple, but you can tell his mentality, his way of thinking was just 10 times that of mine when it came to recruiting, right? And so what is your way of thinking? Do you think recruiting is hard? Do you think that, people think that this is a pyramid scheme? Do you think that, certain groups of people don't believe in life insurance? Do you think that people don't want to build a business? What is your way of thinking? Do you think that people need to, get all the licenses to become financial advisors, right? What is your way of thinking? Or do you think like a builder and you think as soon as you get someone into the business, your first job is to get them 3? When you get someone, Francis always talks about, when you're prospecting, I'm looking for regional vice presidents, or are you looking for the low hanging fruit? When you go into it, if you're going to prospect someone, are you prospecting the manager or are you prospecting the cashier, right? What is your mentality? I want you to take inventory of that and think about how you think, because those 3 things, the simplicity, the vision, the mentality, and I have one more. Those 3 things, though, are going to determine how you build your business and how fast you build your business, okay? The last one is language. This is what Coach Francis talks about all the time when it comes to language. And I mean, she uses so many different words. I have a note in my phone with just all of the language of the multiples, right? Opening outlets, the multiples, 3 to get 3 to get 3 to get 3. What is your language when you are explosive growth, multiplication? When you're talking to your team, what words are you using? And so I just want you to take inventory of that, right? Because sometimes we are thinking that we're teaching recruiting, but we're actually teaching sales, right? We're thinking like we're like, man, I'm a recruiter, I'm a builder. But when you really peel back the layers of your system and how you communicate with your people, you're really teaching sales. And so those are some adjustments that we all need to make, because we've got to make sure that we get everybody steered back on the path of recruiting and building. That is the major key, okay? And so listen, this is when I came into the business. This is what I wanted. I want to build a business that works with or without me. This was very important, very clear to me, because I came in 6 months pregnant and I understood that I needed to make sure that even when I have my baby, once I have my next baby, right? Once my child goes to school, I need to be able to be present, because my why was becoming a present parent. Right? And so do you understand, like, oh, how did Mika move so fast? Well, because I was very much so tapped into the vision and tapped into the why. And so I'm starting here, guys, because we're going to talk about, how to build and all that kind of stuff. But this is very important. If you don't get this right, you're not going to go do any of the skills. You're not going to do any of the things that we talk about. But this is so important because this is what pulled me. So for some of you, you might even be a regional vice president, and maybe you got the regional vice president and you've lost like the vision. You don't really know what you want from here. What is the bigger purpose? And you need to redefine that. And as soon as you get off of this call, that's what you should do while you're in the moment. Right. And so my goal was I want to build a business that works with or without me. And so immediately, right, I started to see the big recruiters across the company. I know Mario Arizona was one of them. And I'm like, man, they're recruiting like crazy. I want to do that because I understood that I wanted 1% of 100 versus 100% of myself. When I heard that quote, I said, man, that is exactly what I want. Because again, if I wanted 100% of myself, I could have just stayed at the hospital. Right. And so immediately, when I first came in, actually, I was very much so very attracted to the life insurance because I knew everybody needed it. Right. So I was definitely easily able to do life insurance. But my Coach Mallard, he sat down with me. He told me, he said, I want you to keep doing what you're doing, keep protecting the families, but I want you to add recruiting. This was very early on in my process. This was within my first couple of months. He said, I want you to add recruiting. And once he told me that, I said, okay, the rest is history. I went and did it. And that's when I became a recruiter within my first couple of months of being in the business. And so this is I'm just going to show you an illustration. And this is going to be basically where we focus here for my talk today, because it's exactly everything that Coach Francis just went over, right? And there is going to be some repetition because that's my mentor and that's who I listen to. So I speak her language, okay? And so you're going to see some overlap in leadership. You're going to see, all of the things. And so this is my first regional vice president. And this was in my warm market. This is my best friend. And so she came into the business, went through the process, recruited a bunch of people. Through that process, we recruited Danielle and Isaiah. This was Cassandra's replacement. Okay, Danielle and Isaiah, that was a replacement leg for them. We all went to high school together. We all went to college together. Okay, and so we are in the same market. We were in the same warm market, but understand this: these are two RVPs that came from this same leg. Then after that, I promoted my third regional vice president from a separate leg. And so Coach Francis talked about getting wide and also drilling deep, but you got to get wide first. You can't drill deep without getting wide. You got to go get a recruit, right? And so, my focus was always on getting wide. And when I understood the replacement process, I understood the importance of definitely getting deep through RVP promotions as well. And so promoted that third regional vice president. Then we went on and we went back to this leg, you all. We kept taking great replacements because those of you who are in the business and you're not RVP yet, you want to be thinking of this as an RVP because the goal for all of you is like, okay, I want to become an RVP. Okay, this is what I want my team to go ahead and do this for me as well, because at some point you guys are going to see that I didn't even know some of these people. I didn't know most of these people, like Demira and Damian Bolden. I did not know them, but they came through people who came through people. And I specifically remember training their uplines, Darkest, and that's her sister. And we were all over Chicago, all in the suburbs, all over the city. We were driving from here to there. We were on appointments all day, just recruiting like crazy. I mean, all over. And from there, we were able to get our next regional vice president, which is Demira and Damian Bolden. And then from there, guys, we kept going. Christina Blair became a regional vice president, same leg. So we're talking about drilling deep. This is what the illustration is showing. Why do you drill deep? Why do you do this? And then we go ahead, the next regional vice president, same leg. Tyann and Prince Coakley. Right? They came through this same one leg, you all. And so you have to make sure you understand, though, through this process of all of these people becoming regional vice presidents, we were recruiting tons of people. So everybody's not going to go RVP, and that's okay. Then I promoted another RVP who was not part of the leg. So that was my 7th RVP, kept going. 8th RVP, we have Arturo and LaShonda, same leg, back into this leg. Then we have our next RVP, Whitney and Stan. That was our 9th. And then from there, you all, guess what? That leg started to promote RVPs. So now we have RVPs promoting RVPs. So I want you to watch the circles. We got Dr. Tierra, Eric and Willie, Jakira, Martin, the Hubbards, and then also Alicia Smith. So I want you to take a look at this really closely. I have 15 regional vice presidents. 13 of them came from one leg. 13 of them came from one leg. And so the power in this is for those of you who are on here and you think, I don't know a ton of people. I don't really know, if I could go and find all of those people. Well, you don't have to find them through your own market, but can you find them through other markets, right? Because Cassandra had her own market, right? Danielle, all of these individuals had 1,000 people that I did not know. So if you can get really, really good at dealing with people, really, really good at recruiting for other people, if you can get really, really good at building leaders, you do not have to have or know a ton of people yourself. And so, outside of, so this is like the power of three. So we got Cassandra, we got Marie, and we got Kelly. We got 3 RVPs that are basically came directly from me, but everybody else came through somebody who came through somebody who came through somebody. So I know y'all got to understand, this is absolutely amazing. I also want to point out something very important, because a lot of times we run away from the people who are busy. We run away from the people who they have a lot going on, or they're very successful. Everybody on this, except for 1 or 2 people, one person, no, 2 people, they had degrees, they were making tons of money. They were very busy. But can we add enough value to a person to the point where now they stop giving so much time to the other things that they have going on, and they start giving that same time to this? So can you get good enough? Can you simplify this thing enough to show them some results fast enough so that they can then start to prioritize this business? And so very, very important. I want to make sure I always show this illustration, because I had a big market. But even though I have a big market, I still ended up going through other markets. And so for those of you who are not regional vice presidents yet, you should be doing the same exact thing, right? You should be doing this same exact thing. You go get you some directs, right? But at the same time, you want to make sure they know they need to get them some directs, and then they need to get them some directs. And so you have to be the one that's going to help them do it, though. So let's talk about the depth force, right? Let's talk about you being that depth force, and you being the person, going out there to get it done. Because a lot of times I feel like we come into this business and we think, I'm going to recruit these people, and they need to go and do this. They need to go and get a lot of people. They need to go and get licensed. Them, like you are somebody's boss, like you are the director, right? But I understood very early on that I don't want to just hand my business over to other people. I just don't know if they want it as bad as me. I don't know if they want it like I want it. I don't know if they have as much on the line as I have on the line. They may have more time. They may waste a bunch of time. I did not have time to waste. I was 6 months pregnant. I had a baby in my belly, and I needed to make sure, guys. See, this is why you got to figure out your why. Because my parents were not present parents. Both of my parents were addicted to drugs as when I was a kid growing up. They're clean now. And so for me, that being a present parent hits deep in my heart, right? It hits deep in my heart. And so for those of you, you might think, oh, my kids are my why. And that might be true, but I want you to ask yourself, is it? Because it may not be that, right? Is there a reason why you have to be present parent? Or is there a reason why the kids? Sometimes it might be yourself. But whatever it is, that why has to absolutely hit so deep that whatever comes against you, you're going to keep going. And I had that picture in my mind of taking my baby to school, picking her up, going to the field trips. And so you got to tap into that. And so while we're going through all of this, I want you to know that that's what's in the back of my mind. The picture in my mind is me being able to be present for my children. And so I want to show you this, because the red marks are, well, actually I have the red. It'll be the 2 that quit that I want to really focus on here. So you saw myself, Cassandra, Danielle, Chrissy. These are all people these 4 are all of us won RVP. Okay. And then now the 2 that quit, JH, thank you, Tony, and SC, right? Those 2, they quit. Now I want you to understand this. So Danielle at this point was a field trainer, an amazing field trainer. And she had just recruited Chrissy. Chrissy had just recruited JH. JH was being kind of difficult, busy lady, successful lady, owned a business. And so this is very key. This is why I'm saying you have to tap in. Danielle came to me and said, hey, coach, can you go ahead and take over training with JH? She's kind of busy. I sat down with JH and I asked her for her best friend. I looked at her list and her best friend was not on her list. I said, I don't see a best friend on here. I know you have a best friend, right? Everyone has a best friend. She had 25 people on the list, but no best friend. And she's, oh yeah, I have a best friend, but she's so busy. She's a business owner. She's always at work. I said, it's okay. Okay, let's put her right here, number 26. And so we put SC number 26, and we called SC right away. SC was at her business, and we said, hey, we're going to come over right now just to show you what JH is doing. We went right over to the boutique right then and there, and SC was already a client with us, you all. So she already believed in the product. She had been a client for years. Who would have known? But we recruited her that day because the person that did her policy did not recruit her. The person who did her investments did not recruit her. They left her for us. And so we recruited her that day. And on from there, we were able to go ahead and get the rest of this leg. What if, I want you to ask yourself, what if when JH took, first of all, what if Danielle didn't ask me to go ahead and get into this leg and train JH? Right? What if she didn't? What if she said, I got it, I can do it. I don't want to pass on this person because I'm just thinking about premium and production and money. I don't want to pass this person to my coach. I want to keep it for myself. Right? What if she would have did that? Right? But then once I went out with her and we started to build through her, guess what? JH quit, SC quit. What if when they quit, right, we would have just slowed down or thought it didn't work? Or what if we just would have stopped right here? We kept going. And even though they quit, guys, we continued on with the leg. This is why you have to move with a sense of urgency. I said we got the best friend name on the paper that day, and then we went to the boutique that same day. All in one day. And so you got to make sure, one, you're getting the best friends on the list. And two, you are moving with a sense of urgency. And three, you are being the depth force. You have to be the person that truly drives that leg deep and keeps it going. Don't just depend on your downlines to do it for you. All right. And so when it comes to overlapping leadership, only through overlapping leadership can you identify and develop fireball leaders at any level. Right. When I met Demira and Damien, I knew that they could be great. Right. And sometimes we think that the fireballs are going to be the easy recruits. No, most of those people on that list were not easy recruits, right? It took some work. It took some adding value. It took some proving. But I knew that if I put in that work, they will be fireball leaders. Same with Tyann and Prince. I knew they will be amazing, right? And both of them, those couples, went into witness protection for a few months. But I kept working my business. We got somebody under the Coakleys that made them come back. So again, recruiting, right? Recruiting is what allowed us to keep this leg going. And so you have to be in a mode of overlapping leadership. If you're only depending or allowing your team to go and recruit and build for you, as opposed to you being involved in that process, then you are truly messing up, right? And so make sure you're focused on that. Also, the replacement system for all of you who are not regional vice presidents, I want you to understand that replacement is good for everyone. Okay, I think it was Coach Bill who said it this way, and I absolutely love this. You make one replacement exchange for the right to take an unlimited number of replacements forever. And so when you make that one replacement, you become a regional vice president and you take them forever, right? It's an amazing setup because at some point you want to be free. At some point you want to have a business and not just be self-employed. And we all start off self-employed. We got to get out there and we got to make it happen. But eventually you do want to make sure that you are a business owner, and a business owner has a system that's working with or without them. And so you got to keep that bigger vision in the forefront. And so I think that's all I have, guys. And so that is, that's how I've implemented it. We've really just always focused on promoting regional vice presidents, recruiting like crazy, and making sure that we stay involved in the process to make sure that it keeps going. That's all I have.
Awesome.
That's very good. Thank you so much, Mika. And that, if you follow that, driving it deep and being the depth force and keeping people going to their markets, it's magic. It blows my mind how magical it is as I watch each one of you talk about it. We're going to bring up Carlos Leon, and you're up now. He's a champion back. He's building RVPs, and we're going to hear from Carlos.
Okay, thank you, Coach Francis. I'm so glad we're here in this building meeting. I remember when they told me, hey, you know what, Carlos, these are different times. Things has changed. And in 2018, when I get back in business, they told me, no, you cannot think about those three by growing by three and could recruit three. Now we have social media, we have this, and I was like, wait. I don't want to get caught up in what I did wrong in my first time in Pramerica. I pull up some numbers. But I remember I heard Coach Francis when they say that times might have changed, but the system has not, because she knows something, and she knows that people want three things in life. They want to be their own boss. They want to work on something they love, and they want to build financial independence. And that's how I was like, oh, I got to study a different type of system. I cannot get caught up on the let's go sell life insurance. And I started becoming one of the biggest builder in the company, but not because I knew how to build a system. It was because I was following a system that first, it creates a massive hierarchy on Francis Avery back on the 80s, and then create with Mike Pressler, he became a millionaire using the same system. And we just heard from Mika Sander, she used the system and she became one of the greatest in the company from the newest RVPs. And then we came back 8 years ago and we did it, and look at where we are. Now we have another millionaire, Jacob and Alice Webb. They followed the system and they became millionaires. So guys, I'm telling you today, I know times has changed. I know we have social media, but I promise you today that if you follow what we're telling you today, you're going to build one of the greatest system, greatest hierarchy in America. And it's not hard. I mean, I call it the easy way because people are following the hard way. I tried to do it the hard way and I had to quit because it was so hard trying to sell life insurance to people. Coach, I was pulling my numbers, and what a surprise. I was like, what I was doing before when I joined Pramerica in 2007, this system, following just the R. Williams way. These are my two favorite books, guys. I always bring them with me. Is Pushing Out People. I want to recommend it. And the other one was, this is one of the Bibles I read from the businesses, the R. Williams way. This is where I learned how everything got started. And I just was listening about how to grow by multiplication. So I want to share a little numbers with you. So you can see here why we grew so fast. Let me share first my screen. Let's see. But get ready, please take notes, because what I'm about to show you, 8 years ago, not 20, not 30, not 40, but 8 years ago, I came back to Pramerica because I was in Pramerica in 2007. I was trying to sell. I never got licensed, and I'm going to show you these numbers from 2007 and in 2018. But this system, the growing by the multiples, concentrating on the main thing, it took my wife and I was driving from Amazon. My wife, she was working for a company. And there was somebody who knew about the multiples, Jeff Bezos. He built Amazon, and I was one of the drivers. So I was like, I don't want to have 100% of just one person income. I want 1% of 100 people, just like this guy from Amazon that he put me to drive on his company. What should I do? And that's when I came, that Pramerica knocked on my door once again. But this time was different because I was mature enough to follow the greatest system on earth, guys. I'm telling you, what I'm about to show you will change your life, because out of the nowhere, we start growing by the multiples, and we haven't listened to anybody else. When Coach Francis called me and she say, Carlos, what are you doing? And I say, who trained you? And I say, well, our Williams system. Nobody else trained me because I just want to grow how you guys did it. And I know there is something in common that you guys did, and it was growing by multiples. And we're talking about multiples in this meeting. You're going to hear this about 100 times. Why? Because it's the easiest way to grow. You saw Coach Mika, how she was from one leg. She created all those RVPs because they were working the multiples on dip. They were rooting, building, and finding people through the system. Most of us, we get caught out with this social media, which is great to find people, which is great to meet new people, which is great to prosper, a way to prosper. But social media is not enough. We got to go back to the let's meet your family and friends system. We got to get back to, if I recruit you, I need to understand that I have one opportunity to get in your market. And if I recruit you to social media and I start teaching you how to do social media to recruit people, then I mess up the system because I'm not getting into your market. And the most important thing is to get into their markets, to gain their trust, to build relationships. And once you build those relationships, then you start pushing out people. And once you start pushing out people, you start promoting others. And then you build a great company within a company. I heard R. Williams, he say, guys, this is a simple system that you gotta follow. And it's a system that if you follow, you need to get promoted to regional leader fast. And once you get promoted to regional leader, within a year, you should be a regional vice president. It is a system, guys, that if we study the system, I think we don't grow because we are listening to other things and everybody has an opinion. But we have the route here. We have the map route. And there is no, I don't know any millionaires that have done it the other way. I mean, that have done it fast, that have built a lot of RVPs, that have built it to last. It's a great system that work all over. And look at this, guys. Now I'm sharing my screen. But I want you to look at this. I want to show you the easiest way, and I want to be so clear. I'm going to try to explain this because it is so easy to get to the multiples that most of the people are doing it the wrong way, trying to get one, that get one, that get one, and one, and one. And they're working by addition and adding, and they never get to their market. They never get to the recruit market. They never promote anybody. So you recruit, you don't promote. Why? Because you're not focused on the multiples. Let me tell you a story. When I got started back in 2018, and I remember my dad told me, because I got started with my dad, and he told me, so what are we going to do? Who are we going to sell? I said, Dad, don't worry about the sales. We're going to start recruiting every single body. Everybody that cross a meter from us, we're going to recruit them. And we're going to build a team under them. And we're going to get into markets because we don't have a lot of markets. So we're going to create new markets. And we're going to build a national team. And he was like, well, if we recruit, where is the money? I said, don't worry about the money either. Don't worry about the money. Trust me on this one. Because if we just think about this, if we recruit so many people and we build teams, there is so many people that are going to need life insurance. They're going to need investment. They want to refer somebody. The family or somebody die on their family, and we need to get there. We're going to close mortgage, whatever. I don't know how many products we have, but I know we have the recruiting part. I know the opportunity part. And my dad said, my dad was 58, and I was 36 back in 8 years ago. And he was like, you know what? I don't know why I'm going to trust you, but I trust you. And I said, don't worry about it, Dad. I know it's going to be great. And then we'll start working this. And look at this, guys. I wanna break this down because you think this is hard. This is the easy way. Everybody can do this. Look, let's say you have 30 days, right? We start May, or we still have 14 days to close this month. Let's say we're going to do it this month. So in this month, your goal is to go and get 3 people. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that's hard? Do you think that's impossible? Do you think that in 14 days, that is the only thing you focus this month on is to get 3 new recruits? Do you think can you do that? Do you think if you spend 12 hours a day trying to find somebody, can you find 3 people who want to change their lives, who want to be somebody, who want to be their own boss? Do you think you can find 3? Of course we all can. Of course we all can. So the real thing is, this is what you got to do. This is your part. But once you get there, the name of the game is that let's find another 3 yourself. No, it's to help these people to do exactly the same. Jimmy Myers said it a week ago in a meeting. He said, if we can grow this to the 4 level every month, then we're gonna build Pramerica great again. If we can grow every month, listen to me, we can do this every month because we did it last month. I put this to the test last month in our base shop. We have never, listen to this, we have never recruit over 100 people in a month in our base. Listen, so I've never been one of the best recruiter in the company, never. But I'm one of the best multiplier in the company. It's not the same to recruit 200 people than to recruit 70 to 80 people building the multiples. It's better 7 to 80 than 100 that are not doing anything. There is a lot of people being burned down because they just getting recruited through social media, boom, 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 but they never grow. They never follow the system. They never went to their market. But I put to the test. I was like, in May, I was like, I want to do this. I want to grow it to the 4th level. Because if I do it to the 4th level with my people, it's going to be over 100 recruits. And for the first time in 8 years, in our base, we did 104 recruits. Our biggest month was 93 recruits. So we always were big on 70 recruits, 80 recruits, 90 recruits. But off of those recruits, we promoted 19 regional vice presidents in 8 years. 19. We didn't need 200-300 recruits. I mean, I know the more the better. But if we grow with multiplication, guys, if we push out people, it's better to worry about how you're going to promote your next RVP. First of all, how you're going to become an RVP. Second, how you're going to promote the next RVP. Because your goal is to promote as many RVPs as you can. So when you promote 3, your main goal is to go and train these people, not on how to close a deal, not on how to close. Immediately, you got to put or recruit 3 people under them because you got to grow your system. And if you do that, the only thing you did was to find 3. You helped them to find 3. This is the easiest way to get to 27 recruits. And if you keep talking, and I think this is the secret, Francis, that you guys are teaching us, and we got it. We got it since the beginning. Is everybody has to speak the same language. That's the main, the biggest component on growing by multiplication. If everybody speak the same language, if everybody teach 3 to get 3, imagine how big it's going to be. Imagine how it's going to be humongous. I mean, it's going to be insane. Look at these numbers. I want to prove you with these numbers. Okay, these are the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Let me draw a circle here because there is Carlos and Monica career. This is our first time in Pro-America. First time. This is recruits. Okay, let's talk about recruits. And here is premium. So our first year, 2007, we recruit 1 person. We all have people like this in our team. They come, they join, they recruit 1, and they close 1 policy. So in 2007, I just did 1 recruit and I did a policy. That's what I did in a year. And then in 2008, they told me that I have to sell. So I was all recruiting. I don't know about recruiting, but I was new in Georgia. I came from Jersey. And then I start selling. And I sell 500, 5,700 in premium for the whole year. I was bad. I mean, those numbers sucks, right? It didn't even was good at selling, was not good at recruiting. But then I would start listening about recruiting. And then, okay, I'm going to recruit and see. And because I recruit 10, look at how the premium grew at that time. But you know why I quit, guys? And it's my bad. It's my fault. Because in Georgia, we had a temp license. And I'm being very honest. My temp license expired and I never got licensed. And I had to quit. But in 2018, guys, I want you to put attention to this because what we're talking in this meeting is the pure growth and how a guy who didn't recruit even 10 in a year, how can you come and in the first year you recruit 290 people? How in the world? These are not big numbers because this is for the whole year. But listen to this. I recruited 290 and we did almost 300,000 in premium for the whole year. It's so much different than the old system We got it right in 2018. And not only that, we became RVPs. But the main thing was recruit, and through recruiting, but not just recruiting, recruit and built. And that, I was at the office, guys. And everybody, I went to 2 to 3 kitchen table presentations, right? Why? Because I understood at that moment that my goal was to recruit everybody who wants to join the team and teach them on how to get the multiples going. And I was recruiting people under people, and I was closing about 15 to 20,000 in personal premium. Why? Because I was getting into their markets. I was recruiting people from people, and guess what? They say, Carlos, I need life insurance. I need an investment account. I need this. But I was worrying about growing the recruiting part. And look at what happened next year, second year in business. This is amazing how the multiples work. You don't have to do it all, guys. You don't. My average in recruiting per month is 3 to 5. 3 to 5 personal recruits. It's not 20, it's not 30, it's 3 to 5. But we teach everybody on how to get there. We did. And we were focusing on, oh, you're not doing your 3 to 5? I remember when one of our RVPs, that he's about to click $500,000 right now, William and Pilar Castro, he came to me and he was like, Coach, I had 21 recruits, but only 6,000 on premium. What should I do? He was making 300,000 already. What should I do? And I said, well, you have 21 recruits, 6,000 in premium. You need to recruit more. He was expecting another answer. And I said, you need to recruit more. You haven't recruited enough. You know what he did? I don't remember the numbers, but he did like 68 recruits by 40,000 in premium. Something like that. From 21 recruits to 6,000 premium, he grew recruiting to 60, so almost 70 recruits to 40,000 in premium. So you got to understand the numbers. You got to stop fighting the truth. You got to stop fighting what somebody else is telling you, because look at next year. Next year, we went from 290, we went to 536. Well, we went to 584 because now we have what? We create an RVP. So first year, we become an RVP. Second year, we create another RVP. And look at the premium. The recruits grew to 536 and the premium to 633,000 in premium. Insane. I didn't even knew how it was happening, but I knew it was the multiple. So we keep calling the play. And look at this. 2020, one of our greatest years. We promote 11 RVPs, guys. 11 RVPs in 1 year. And this is what helped us to become bulletproof, even in the tough times. Even when people was quitting, even when people was leaving to other companies or wherever they were going, we did great because we created a hierarchy. We built with the right mindset. And look, we went from 580 to 1,900 recruits, and our premium grew in our through first to $3 million. Why? Because it was 1,900 new recruits. It was not 536 recruits anymore. It was 1,900. And then what, Carlos? And then we grow our recruiting to 3,000 recruits. And that's why we grew 1 more million next year in premium. It was not because I was doing 100,000 in premium by myself and he was doing 100. No, it was not that. It's because the recruiting will give you whatever you want. And in investments, guys, I heard everybody wants to become $1 million earner in investment by now, right? Even new people. They say, oh, I just want to get my investment license and I'm going to become a millionaire. It will take you 20 to 30 years to do that. 20 to 30 years. But look at this. Look at this, Coach. Because we did that, look at the accounts we opened. Look, 27 the first year, and then 128, then one, and then two. Just per month, right now, per month, because we have the hierarchy we have, per month, we opening about 400 accounts per month. Per month. Packs. You know how millionaires we will be in the next 10 to 50 years with those packs? You know, that's how you grow investments. That's how you grow. By the multiples, by distribution, guys. There is no other way. You can fight it, but I don't see anybody that can. I see people that recruit 200-300 recruits a month, but they're not building. They're not building. How many recruits you're gonna promote out of those 300 recruits? How many RVPs? If I have the opportunity, if my hierarchy would give me the opportunity to recruit, listen to this, 300 recruits by 100 in premium, I will promote 2 to 3 RVPs right there. Why? Because you have the production, you know the system, you got to keep growing. Mark Williams said, if you don't grow fast, the train will fall out of track. It will fall out of track. You got to give room to everybody to grow. And that's why, guys, that's why I did this. I knew that if I want to grow by multiples, I know the multiples will grow really fast. They explode. They blow your business. And you don't even know how it happened, but they blow your business. So I want to give you my last advice right here. How we just got started in the business, it was about recruiting. If you want to fix your business, if you think you're stuck or if you might be stuck, you better start doing the right thing. You got to recruit, but you got to recruit under people, go becoming wide, like Coach say, 50 wide, but you got to tap rooting on your team. You got to promote your team. That's the first thing you got to worry. How many people you're going to promote? Last month, we did 104 recruits, and we promote 4 regional leaders. 4 regional leaders. So we're promoting, we're creating leaders, we're believing in people. Why? Because that's the only way to grow. And guys, here is something that we got to start working and fixing in the company, because company require license to become promoted as a regional vice president. For you that you speak English, for you that you see I don't know if you have understand anything that I say, because my English is very broken, but I hope you understand. At least I give you a presentation so you can figure it out, right? But but listen, in 3 months and a half, I family lives. I got started in February, and I set up a goal. I'm gonna recruit 10, that gives me 20, that gives me 30. Not that I'm gonna look for 20 people next month. Now, with those 10, I'm going to go to 20, and then I go to 30 and then 40. But at the same time, I'm going to get licensed. And while I was doing this, we got paid almost $30,000 in 3 months and a half, almost 4 months. I became security licensed, Series 663, studying like crazy and working like crazy. And I had to have a dictionary on one hand and Kaplan book in the other hand, trying to translate to figure out what they were saying. For you who speak English, what are you waiting for? This is a system that has to grow. This is a system that if you stop, the train will fall out of track. Most of us are not growing because we're too lazy to study 4 or 5 hours a day and work 12. That's just reality, guys. And I'm telling you this because I know what is being broke. And to have an amazing life right now. I know what it is, how it feels, and I know how to overcome them. And this is what I'm giving you right now. You got this because what I'm showing you will change your life. You don't have to do a lot. You just have to follow the multiples. 3 who gets 3, you get licensed, you get promoted to RVP, and your only job from them is to keep doing the same and promote more RVPs. We need to keep growing the company, because if we don't grow the company this way, guys, the company will, the affected will be us. We will be the personal affected because the company will go down. We need to keep promoting RVPs by the multiples. Promise me something. You're going to use social media just to meet people, to get some recruits. But once you get some recruits, you get back to the system. You get into their markets. You get with their family and friends. And you recruit friends and you start creating relationships. That's how we're going to get this company to the next level again. And I'm going to give you a Christmas tree that I give to Coach Francis on November. This is our Christmas tree as a gift. This is the best Christmas tree. We are about to hit 700 licenses in the hierarchy. And then the goal is to end up with over 1,000 licenses. So you don't have to have thousands of people to grow big in Primerica if you do it by the multiples. But the goal is to get thousands and thousands and thousands. And if you follow this simple system, you're going to get there fast. It's not going to take you 20, 30, 40 years, guys. I know what I'm telling you and know that it's happening. The ball is rolling. Coach Francis, I hope I can help somebody with this, but I know that if we all come together and we start applying the multiples, Primerica will be the greatest company on earth again.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Carlos. Absolutely right. And you know what I was thinking as both of you were talking, Mika and Carlos, they both went to $1 million very rapidly by doing the multiples, but they also did it without having a lot of securities license. I don't think either one of them did it with securities. They got to the million before they started getting all of those licenses. They built a team of people that totally understand the multiples and how to grow their income stream the right way. And thank you both so much for your message today. Very good message on how it works. And I think that Mika said it and Carlos said it. We complicate this thing. We have to keep it simple. And, I remember Art used to talk about the KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't go out there and complicate something that works. And I can tell you, we've got a chance right now with the people that are working with this group, Bill. I just can't tell Bill how much I respect and appreciate his continued effort to bring back to the forefront, not just with the group that's on here, but the forefront of how this company was built. It would be a travesty if we didn't have a change of heart right now. And I told Bill, I said, we talked about how hard is it to make a switch. Well, our company has gone a little bit sideways. I mean, we've gone, I don't want to talk about that, but too many people are making too much money on just securities and not building teams. But I can tell you this, if Art Williams could take 85 people and he could change an industry in 6 years, we can take a few people and change a company in the next 6 to 8 months. We can move this machine. This is a wonderful company with all of the right stuff in place. We just got to have leadership that understands what causes it to work. It is truly based on your ability to do it. And as I always do, it's what you say and the circles you draw. You stop drawing circles, people can't see it. You stop saying the right things and people can't hear it. We've got to have that message so clear that we take this to where it needs to be. Bill, did you need anything before we close, or did you want to have some comments here?
Let's let Mike finish up, and I want to give some announcement as to next time we have the masterclass. You can go ahead and introduce Mike, then I'll give some little bit of information at the very end.
Okay, I'm always happy to bring up Mike Pressler. He's a true champion in Primerica. He's been a part of a team with Jimmy and those guys up in the Northeast. They truly followed the Art Williams system to build what they have. And his testimony to Art one day was so powerful to me about what it had meant to him to have a chance to be a part of this opportunity. I always love hearing from you, Mike. So we're going to have you close us out. You take some time and let us hear from you.
Well, thank you so much. I don't have I'm not a technologically proficient guy, so I'm just going to talk. And I just want I talked to Bill on Sunday night, and he asked me to have the honor of doing this. So I just went through my notes from my 41-year career and just try to dissect the things that I thought were important from Art. And I just want everybody to know, first of all, Francis, I was typing, can I get this PowerPoint from Francis? It's gold. I mean, it was golden. And I'm gonna just ram it down the throat of our hierarchy, because I am fighting the fight of pushing against this, what people perceive as the path of least resistance, which is, I'm going to go to RV, I'm going to go make $1 million with myself and bringing assets over to the company. I worked on freaking Wall Street. I left Wall Street because I didn't like those guys. I didn't come to Primerica so I could take $1 million trade from Goldman Sachs and bring it over to Morgan Stanley. I came to Primerica because I wanted an average and ordinary dude who didn't know any way to build wealth, and I could start him with a $25 a month PAC and put it in a damn mutual fund. That guy could say, oh my God, I get to buy into 100 companies with 25 stinking little dollars. And then 35 years later, all those dudes that I talked to doing PACs are now moving money from one investment to another. And everybody's looking at them and thinking, oh, I could do that. Yeah, go do PACs. Every One Life app, we attach 3 PACs at $25 a month to, and then compounded over 30 years. These guys got $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 in there. Don't freaking fool yourselves, okay? This is a compounding people, compounding numbers, compounding interest, compounding everything business, and it starts with you compounding what you do. So I want to say, first and foremost, please don't use these meetings as meeting massage. It feels really good while someone's rubbing your neck and putting their elbow in your knot and freaking working all that crap out. And you walk out of the massage parlor and you go, wow, I feel great. I could do anything. And then tomorrow morning you wake up and you're the same grumpy, sore person you were the minute you got the massage. Too many people come to these things and they use them as meeting massage. Change the way you wake up tomorrow morning and do something, okay? I wrote all these things down as I was talking. I heard Amika, and there is repetition. Repetition is the mother of learning. Repetition is the mother of learning. I wrote 30 years ago, I wanted to become unnecessary in my business. Only way I could become unnecessary in my business was to duplicate myself so that people could say what I said, do what I did, and repeat what I repeated. In my flip chart, I had transitions written in. Why am I here? And then what did it say on the next page? I had penciled in, I had a group of people that looked like little mini-me's. They duplicated what I said, and I didn't let a person go out on a training appointment until I knew they knew exactly what the transition was. I wanted to create an army of little Mikeys, right? And this is 41 years. Do you know it took me, so I got a bunch of messages to everybody. To all those of you who are toiling every day, wondering why these rocket ships go flying past you, I want to let you know I am not a rocket ship. I am a little tank. Tanks aren't sexy. Nobody comes out and watches a tank crush over a car. People go out and watch rocket ships launch. The only thing they don't realize is sometimes those rocket ships blow up in the atmosphere. No, sometimes they crash and burn, but tanks keep going along and doing the things they need to do to crush through hard times. It took them 31 years to put my little face on a stage at a company trip. And you know why? I wasn't sexy. I wasn't doing 100 by 100, 200 by 200. I was just promoting RVPs who were making money. I got 50 RVPs, 47 of them have the ring. I got first that have $800,000, $900,000 first, $800,000 first, $700,000 first, $500,000 first, $400,000 first. It ain't sexy, but I was a tank. I was doing things every single day. It took them 31 years. I got the $1 million ring after 30 years in the business. Not sexy at all. I had a guy at the convention that I got the ring at come up to me and say, well, are you embarrassed that it took you 31 years? The guy was making $140,000 a year, asked me if I was embarrassed. I said, I am so damn proud that I have, and I just started listing the people who were making money on the team. I was talking about we cash, not me cash. And when I talked about we cash, my me cash went up. I told Glenn Williams when he was saying, Mike, you're at 800,000. We need you to get to 1 million. I said, I will get there organically. I'm not going to get there by dropping a big damn variable annuity bomb so that next year my income goes down by 130. I want to get there gradually while people go over their next milestones. So I wrote this down 30 years ago. What am I doing today that's going to lead me to find a new person who can join our team and in 60 days be licensed and capable of taking a life app and an IBA on their own? If you wake up tomorrow morning and you drive yourself by that one question, what am I doing today that's going to lead me to find a new person who could join my team and in 60 days be licensed and capable of taking an IBA and a life app on their own, and then add one more thing, and then be able to teach others to do the same damn thing, and then repeat. You talk about a 60-day beast cycle. Imagine 60 days from now, you started getting people showing up with licenses that are walking in and saying, Mike, I wrote my sister up on an IBA, and we did a life app on them, and they had no insurance. I replaced some insurance. We got fired up about that stuff. You got to get fired up. Francis, I started a program 25 years ago called the Franchise Development Program. It was an outlet development program. We asked people to become franchise players on their way to becoming franchise owners. And a franchise was just an outlet, and an outlet was an independent licensed district leader who could go out and do 3x3 and teach others to do 3x3. And I wrote all this stuff out. I went through all my notes about art, and I wrote a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to fly through it, right? No fancy offices, no billion-dollar valuation, no social media, no freaking technology, no polished systems. Just do it, right? Just one man with conviction. Art Williams believed the average people with a big heart, a simple system could overturn the industry, outperform the experts. Everybody laughed at him, but the financial industry said you can't build a business with part-timers. Well, guess what we did? We built a business with part-timers. We haven't innovated since 1977 or 1973 when we deconstructed whole life insurance and broke it into buy term and invest the difference and allowed average and ordinary people to keep their freaking jobs and jump into a business where you can make $1,000 a month, or if what Francis said, $1,000 a week. A farmer's wife making $1,000 a week when doctors don't do that. The darn thing doesn't change. Don't forget the difference you make in a person's life. I got people in New Jersey. Can you believe what gas prices cost? It cost me $74 to fill my tank. Well, guess what? Come on board, make an extra $250 a week. You'll be able to pay for your gas and put an extra money away in your IRA. And we need to we need to fix this country. We need to fix this world. And I'm willing to pay a little extra money if we can take out some bad dudes in the process. Okay, sorry to get political with everybody, but it's time to dream big. This is what I got from the Art Williams that I love. He used to say it over and over again in different ways, but you got to dream big. Most people's problem isn't capability, it's vision. I heard Mika said that. Most people's problem isn't capability, it's vision. Art taught people to dream again. Art said people have a sign on their chest, make me feel good, make me feel special. Art Williams said, I ran into Art Williams about 10 years after he left, and I got to play golf with him. He said, Mike, you have kids? I go, I do, Art, I have kids. He goes, what kind of kids do you have, Mike? I go, I got human kids. He goes, you got human kids, Mike? Art Williams made me feel special about doing what everybody else does. Have kids. There's a lesson to be learned there. Make people feel special. This is a relationship, people. This is a relationship business. People will quit on a boss, but they will not quit on a friend, right? Believe in people. This ain't about resumes. This ain't about pedigree. This ain't about experience. It's keep it simple. And complexity kills duplication. Simplicity creates acceleration. Mass activity wins. You don't wait for momentum. You create momentum. What am I doing today that's going to lead me to find a new person who could join my team and in 60 days be capable of taking a life app and an IBA on their own and able to teach others to do the same damn thing? And all of a sudden you go, whoa, where did all these people come from? I'll give you a little hope. It took me 31 years to speak at a company event. I still haven't been on the center stage at the convention. Still have not been on center stage at the convention. I'm waiting my time. There's been a lot of people on center stage that I beat their asses in every metric you could possibly think of. But they get up on stage and I sit there and I clap for them. And you know why I clap for them? Because for me, it ain't about me being on stage. It's about me having people on our team call me up and go, Mike, I just saved my first $1 million. I can't believe I got $1 million in liquid money. When you told me to start part-time, I never imagined this would happen to me. That's the gratification. That's the friggin' gift. You don't worry about the recognition as much as you worry about the gratefulness and the gratitude and the gratification that comes along with teaching others how to get what they want and get what you have. Massive activity. Duplication is the secret. One person working hard loses to many working together. Jim Meyer told me he was a basketball player, and he gave us this analogy. He goes, if we played the NBA superstars and they were allowed to put 5 on the court, but we were able to put 1,000 on the court, I could go put my elbow in LeBron James' face and get thrown out of the game, and I could tackle LeBron, I could tackle Jordan, I could hold him down. Me and Van State could pummel the heck out of all 5 of those guys, and there'd be 998 other people just doing layups on the court. We're able to put as many people on the court as we can, which is why we can beat Prudential. It's why we can beat Morgan Stanley. It's why we can beat these hoity-toity companies who never saw us coming. You need to buy into this stuff. Never quit. Just do it. Don't overthink it. Don't analyze it. Just do it, right? So here's the 3 who get 3 thing. I'm not going to beat it to death, but if you do it to the 4th degree, it's 100 people. 100 people will make a difference in your life. It'll make a difference on your team. Here's a little hope for you. Jim Meyer, Francis, you know Jim, he's all over the place. Bro, you're working too hard. You got He threw 3 letters at me 2.5, 3 years ago. His 3 letters were QTR. You know what QTR stood for? Quality time remaining. My dad died young. He said to me, Mike, you don't know how much time you have on this earth. You saved all your money. You did the right thing. Let's go travel the world. I said, Jimmy, I don't have what you have. I don't have a plane. I don't have a yacht. I still want to be able to create more generational wealth. And I was working and he was, hanging out. And then all of a sudden he gets to my wife and he says, Mike's going to work himself to death. He's got to cut it out. So like 2.5, 3 years ago, I said, I'm going to promote 2 more first. I'm not going to take a replacement. I'm going to give away all my code numbers. And I had 0 codes. Because how do you become an empty nester? You have no kids at home, right? How do you become QTR, quality time remaining? No base shop dudes calling you up and asking what QBI means, right? So I did it 2.5 years ago. Jimmy goes to the convention. He goes, I got 3 new letters, OMT. I'm like, what the hell is OMT? He says, 1 more time. I'm like, are you going to come up with any more letters? I'm not doing OMT. I just gave away all my code numbers. So last January, to 18 months before January, I managed to do 0 by 0 in my base shop because Jimmy had begged me to go QTR and relax. I wasn't relaxing. I was running a hierarchy, but I didn't have a base shop. Well, last January, I said, I'm going to do it 1 more time because of Art Williams. I want the Art Williams message to live generations into the future. I don't want to see Lamborghinis up on the friggin' screen. I don't give a crap about what you own. I like it. It motivates me. But Art Williams never showed me a Lamborghini. He told me, I want to have $300,000 a year so I can put that at 10% and have $30,000 a year and never have anybody put their thumb on me. I want average and ordinary people to be able to have an opportunity to never have somebody put their thumb on them. I don't give a crap about Lamborghinis. I care about, you want to tell me how much money you gave to charity. I care about if you want to tell me how you were able to be at your mother's. I had the privilege of, my parents were at my first breath. I got to be at my mom and dad's last breath because of Primerica. That means something to me. Why? My dad got sick on my honeymoon. He had stage 4 cancer. I came back from my honeymoon. He died 13 months later at 58 years old. I sat with him because I had built a little base shop and 4 or 5 RVPs. My income went up the year I sat in my dad's Sloan Kettering chair next to him for every damn treatment he went through. That's what Primerica gave to me. That's what Primerica gave to me, the opportunity to be the go-to dude for everybody else in my life. I've been doing some stuff that I never dreamed possible. Why? Because we built other people. We built other people. So 3 who gets 3 gets 100. I had 100 early in my career, and those guys went out and said, he's done something for me. I'm going to keep this thing going. And I'll leave you with this. And by the way, if you do it Art Williams' way, you take it out like he did to the 10th, and it's 59,000 59,000 people. I don't know if we're going to get to 59,000, but I'm looking at 515 people on his team. On this call, you go out and get 3, teach people to get 3, teach people to get 3. And that's a heck of a lot more than a base foundation of 85 doing it. So today, I want everybody on this Zoom to understand something. Don't underestimate your small beginnings. Don't underestimate I don't care where you are right now. I don't care if the only guy you got quit yesterday. It don't matter. Every day in A.O. Williams, every day in Primerica, you got a shot to start over again. This is not a corporate career where you got to prove yourself right now. You got to prove yourself right now for your family, for yourself, for your friends, and for your community, for your church, for your synagogue, for your mosque, for whatever it is you believe in. I mean, I could get emotional. Big things are never built by one giant act. They're built by small, simple actions, compounded over time by committed people. Your future is not built on what you can do alone. It's built on what you compound through loving all over people. And when I see Francis and I see Bill and I see the emotional currency that they are investing in us, and I think about the people who haven't accomplished half of what they've accomplished, sending their little Instagrams out while they're cycling through the south of France in their little biker shorts. And I think about them pumping love and knowledge into us. Do not take this for granted. Do not take this lightly. And do not count yourself out because you haven't been a rocket ship. I have crushed rocket ships that have fallen out of the sky, and I have run right over their little carnage. I have blown past people who at conventions wouldn't even shake my hand because they didn't perceive me as somebody they could learn something from. I don't care. You know who I care about? I cared about my mom. I cared about my dad. I cared about my family. I care about my wife. I care about my kids. I care about if God is blessing me with future grandchildren. And I care about the team and A.O. Williams and Art and Angela Williams, who gave me everything that I have today. And I will go to my grave thanking them for the commitment they made. And I thank you, Bill, and I thank you, Francis, for doing the same darn thing. I love you all, and I feel privileged to be a part of this.
Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Carlos, and thank you, Mika. And of course, thank you, Francis, for a great session. And again, this is from the heart. When I talk to Art quite a bit now, and he asked me how the company's doing. Are we growing the way we used to grow? And I said, well, Art, now we are, because we've got a cadre of people that believe like you believe. And I want to first recognize all the chosen ones that are tier 1s and tier 2s. If you want to one day become a chosen one and be part of something really special that Francis and I and the tier 1s like Mike and Mika and Carlos and Mike Evans and so many others, Jim Penn, are putting together, ask your upline what you have to do to become part of this special group. But Francis, our next masterclass in recruiting and building the Art Williams way is going to be on May the 4th. It's going to be, thank you, Tony, for doing that. And it's going to be same call-in number that we always use, May the 4th.
August 4th.
I'm sorry, August the 4th. August the 4th. Thank you. So that's going to be our next masterclass. And Francis, you set the tone. Give us a final word. What do you think we accomplished today, Francis?
Well, I think a lot of people heard us. I noticed we had a great audience with over 500 people, and I think the speakers delivered a message that was so true, so pure, and right focused exactly on what we need to focus on. I loved everybody's way of presenting, and I can tell you that my respect for these two men and the woman, Mika, Carlos, and Mike, for what they do every day is amazing. I'm so happy to have teammates that are totally committed to understand what it took to get here. And
Francis, let me interrupt you for a second. Talk about the chosen ones and how you and I, we worked, and Mike and Mika and Carlos are part of the chosen ones. Talk about how special this group is.
Well, to tell you the truth, you're a chosen one because you were chosen. And it took some thinking and time and looking at it. We didn't just pick anybody. And I thought I was a tough coach on stuff like that until I met Bill, and I found out he's tougher than I am on it. And I love it when if you're not on time, you're going to get cut out. If you're, you've got to be serious about it. So we can't lead this charge and change what's happening and do what we can do in the next 5 years without the chosen ones continuing to be better and better, and doing the things with the discipline. And it's like Bill and I talk a lot, and Bill always makes this comment. He said, Francis, they've got to want it. They've got to be ready. You can't just say you want it. You've got to show that you're ready. And that's what it takes. I know he and I were both a part of Art Williams' Inner Circle back in the days when the thing was really growing. And I can tell you right now, you were chosen to be in that, and you had to toe the line. You had to be real and committed to what Art was presenting to us. And when you do this, when the chosen ones that are on, I want you to know that every one of you are better than you know you are. I mean, whatever you think about yourself right now, I want you to know that you've got stuff in your DNA. You've got the message deep in your heart. And what we're looking for is for you to have that passion and tenacity and all of the discipline that it takes to drive it. Folks, we can't think about who we're working with if we override them or not. Our business was a team power business. Art talked about the power of the dream was the power of the team. And we were expected to be team players. I believe the only way for this to happen is for the chosen ones to have that team power attitude and to continue to get better and better. But you know what? Getting better doesn't mean getting fancier. And I heard it said today, and I'm going to sort of take a little side note here, Bill. I was in an MIT, and then I was in a Women in Primerica meeting right after that. And so many people would say to me, Francis, I know you built it then in those days, but things are so different now. What do you think about how we can get multiples going and all that? I said, let me ask you a few questions. Do people in this country today across North America, do they still want to be somebody? And they said, well, yeah. I said, do people still have families and friends that they care about and love and want to protect? And they'd say, yeah. I said, do people still want to be financially free and independent? And they said, yeah. I said, then what's different? The only difference maybe is social media, but what does that have to do with anything? We could recruit somebody and get 25 names from their family and friends, their church groups, their neighborhoods, the people their kids go to school with. Those things are alive and well. People want to hear from you. So let's don't let anybody that's out there try to convince us that because this was a number of years ago, 50 years ago, that things have changed so much that the way it was built then can't be built now. I am totally convinced that what we did then can still be done today. It's just that we've got to have leaders that care about it. And the chosen ones are the ones we expect to do it, Bill. I know you've been picked, but I think all of us have to get up every day and prove ourselves. We can't get lackadaisical. We can't think we've got it all. We've got to get up every day with an attitude of winning for this team.
Well, thank you, Francis. The tier ones and the tier twos, congratulations. You are the heart and soul of why Francis and I, our heart beats, because we're going to pass this baton. Hard to believe Francis and I are not getting any younger, but someone's got to take this baton, and the young folks like you are, and Mika and Carlos and a lot of the others that are on our tier ones and tier twos, we devoted our rest of our life to keeping the Art Williams team alive for your sake. I believe in 5 years, you're going to see all the people walking on stage, getting all the awards, biggest hierarchy, are all going to be from the people who commit to the multiples. Because that is the company Art Williams created, an RVP factory. He created this for us to have RVPs who have RVPs who have RVPs, and to create something that'll last 100 years for your family, where no one's got their thumb on you. No one's going to have their thumb on your children, your children, and your children's children. And that only comes from having RVPs who have RVPs who have RVPs. Thank you very much, Tony, for helping us here. Mike, thank you for helping us out. And Coach Mika and Carlos Leon and all the tier ones and the tier twos who got all your people on here. God bless. We'll see you on August the 4th, same time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for
Thank
all
you,
you do,
guys.
Bill.
Love you.